What's up guys, L47 here. Today I'm going to be making a LEGO Battles Gold Rush tier list. Now I haven't seen anybody do something like this, so I thought I'd just make one. So we'll start with heroes. King, honestly, it's pretty whatever. He's got pretty balanced stats. His Earthquake spell is pretty useful though, but his Force spell really doesn't do that much. So I think high C tier. Queen, just a better version of the king. She's faster but does less damage, but it's kind of mitigated by the fact that she has Earthquake as well. But the Force spell really isn't too useful. Dwarf King. I think he's good in this mode because he has mining buff, but he's kind of sucks. His Thunder Hammer is just bugged. It's really slow. Does do a lot of damage, but his two spells really don't help that much. Wizard, D tier. There's really not a point picking him since he doesn't do any damage, or he's very slow as well. Spells are, his lightning's decent, but his fireball is technically bugged, so you could like snipe builders, but once again, it really doesn't do that much damage. Sorceress is decent because she's fast, but spell wise she's not terribly good. Troll King is S tier. The logging buff is so good in this mode, especially if you start with 500 bricks. He also has Roar, which is the same as Earthquake. It's super useful for defending, and he does do quite a bit of damage, so he is, in my opinion, the best hero for Gold Rush. Brickbeard, whatever, does a lot of damage, but his damage from his spells aren't really that good. So, Blade Pirate 2, they're like the same. She's a little bit faster, but does a little bit less damage. Hanka Hookah isn't that good in this mode. Yeah, he's the Forest spell, not really that useful in this mode, and his Coconut Swarm only will attack one target. So, Broadside, same problem. He has the Jungle Spawn, which once again not useful in this mode. His Artillery does do splash damage, but it's pretty weak spell. Camilla is a tier higher. She's fast, but she still has Force spell, not a very good damage spell. Ninja Master is A tier, arguably S tier. He's maybe the best offensive option, but I think the logging buff is just broken in this mode. He's got teleport, he can always come back and go for a second run. His Arrow Volley is a decent spell, and he does 4 stars damage and his max speed, so he's very good. Biff is B tier. His EMP is just useless in this mode since no one will be attacking with specials. His laser is pretty weak. He does a lot of damage and is very fast, but the Ninja Master is just better, and the Queen is arguably as well. Gemma is just horrible. She does no damage. Her EMP is useless, and she is subpar damage spell. Same as Space Police Captain. I mean, his tracking is useless, but we already knew that. He's basically just general with 100 extra health. Alien Commander is A tier. It's a really useful ESP spell. It's force spell, not that good though. But he does do a lot of damage, which is good for defending. And then Queen is just one notch ahead of him, because she is faster. She does have less health, but that really doesn't matter too much in this mode. So she's definitely going to be a little bit better. Space Criminal Leader is horrible. Hot Wire is useless. And he does no damage. So you can't defend or attack really. Forrester is not F tier. Does decent damage for a range hero, but he's not a very good option to begin with. His tracking's useless, and his arrow volley is just whatever. But he's definitely not the worst character for this mode. Ghost is B tier. It's very fast and his Earthquake. It's kind of like the Queen, but he's just squishier. There's also the Fireball bug where you can like snipe a builder or two, but it's not really gonna happen too much. Sheriff is horrible. Actually, I'll put him here. Basically, does as much damage as a Forestman, but he's slower and has less health. Both have one useless spell. EMP is pretty much useless in this mode, since no one will be attacking with a special. It's Artillery, just a worse version of Arrow Volley. Conquistador, put him right next to the Dwarf King. Despite him looking good and having the mining buff, he's really bad for this mode. It's the mining buff. It costs 600 bricks to break a mine. Just not worth it. He's a Crab Swarm, which is whatever. His stats are pretty weak. Ain Chase is maybe the worst unit for this mode. Literally has no useful spells. Well, they all have at least one. He's fast, but he doesn't do any damage, just like these characters. Classic Space is here. He has ESP, which is a great stun spell for defending. His Space Laser, which is the reason I feel like he beats these two, because it can actually be used in this mode, unlike Crystal Cash. And Santa is comparable to Ninja Master, but doesn't have a damage spell. Now it does do range damage, splash damage, but his damage is a little bit lower than Ninja Master's. I feel like if you want a bit more effective option, I think Ninja Master would be a little bit better in this mode. So now let's move on to units. What's up, builders? King's Builder, just whatever. He's just average in every stat. Not really a point of using him, but the thing about 50 and 55 cost builders, if you refund them, you will get more bricks back than if you use one of the 45 cost builders. Skeleton Builder, Imperial Builder, never use, so they cost the most money and are the slowest. Heart Builder is obviously S tier, he's the cheapest and the fastest. Earth Builder, he's as cheap as a Fire Builder, but he's just slower. With an extra 10 health, but once again, it doesn't matter too much. Alien Builder is getting A tier. As fast as a Pirate Builder, but just costs more. Now you do actually get extra refund, but that really doesn't matter since you are spending that to get this character. So alright, Guardsman, literally pointless. He does no damage and he's not even that fast to make up for it. There's not much of a point making him as a defense anyways. The Dwarf's alright, I guess. A little bit outclassed, but it could work if you're a diehard Dwarf fan. Swordsman, exact same. I'll just put them together. The Swordsman actually does less damage to buildings than the Dwarf, but that really doesn't matter since you're mainly focused on destroying builders. Skeleton, probably the best pick. He's the tied for the fastest, does the most damage of the fastest. He does cost 110, but that's actually the cheapest of the fastest units. Troll does the same damage as the skeleton. It's a little bit cheaper, but he's slower. So, not really super useful, but I guess he's alright. Oarsman is a little bit worse than skeleton. He's as fast, costs 10 bricks more, 75 HP more, which I don't think is as important as doing less damage than him. Trooper, he's slow, but he does a lot of damage. It's better than these two, but it's also cheap, which helps. And the drone, he's cheap, but he's not. He's like average speed. Does do more damage than even the skeleton, but the speed really kills him. These two are definitely the best. I'd say the skeleton's probably the best melee unit. Alright, range units. First up, all 150 cost units are straight F tier. There's no point. Every brick matters in this game mode. There is just no point to ever picking any of these 6. Start with the Islander. Islander is out B tier. He's like average speed, but he's cheap and does 2 damage, so he's good. Ninja is the best option. He's faster than the Islander and has a faster build time, which is something you might not have known. It actually has a fast build time than all other 9 range units. Space Police, he's outclassed, so there's not really a point in picking him, but he's cheap. Space Criminal, it's A tier. He's as fast as Ninja, but he doesn't do as much damage. However, he does have a little bit more health. And he only does 1 damage, but if you got a few of them, it might not be a big deal. So, alright, mountain units. Knight is actually alright for this game mode since he's the fastest max damage unit. And the Gripply, he's faster, and the health really doesn't matter too much in this mode. Skull Knight, of course, is just horrible. Never point using him. Horseman, he's A tier. About on par with the Knight. Does less damage, but he is faster. He does have more health, but that doesn't really mean too much. Cavalry, I'll put an F tier. Not point picking him. Health doesn't mean anything in this game mode. And the Gripply, also put an F tier because he does as much damage as the Knight, but he's slower. But the 100 extra HP he has really doesn't mean anything. And S tier, it's Grab Runner. He's the same speed as the Horseman, but he does more damage. He does less damage than the Knight, but he is faster, which I think matters a little bit more. He also does less damage to buildings, but not really a thing that matters. He does more damage buildings. That really doesn't matter in this mode too much. But he's still the best. And just don't use specials. There's no point building a specials factory. 350 bricks. And at least 350 bricks make another special. There's just not really a point where I'd ever like use a special in this game mode. So, well, these are my rankings. Feel free to share with me your opinions on this. I'd be happy to make a future video to change this if any of you guys disagree. Alright.